I just put a little bit more. You see that fresh bait over there, and now they're starting to line up. So in another 10 minutes, there's probably going to be 1,000 ants on that. Okay, welcome back everybody. I'm on the road. I'm headed over to a house. Last night, Tyler and I put out some juicy fruit to bait for some moles at a friend's house. And we found some ants, some problematic ants crawling into the house. We didn't have products with us, so I'm gonna run back over there real quick and take care of their ants for them. That way they don't have to wait. So we're gonna look at that. I'm gonna talk a little bit about ants. I know the microphone is different on this camera. It sounds different, I'm sorry, but that way it gets it from both directions. So we're gonna run over and take a look at this problem. All right, before I get started, I'm sorry I'm alone. So camera work is gonna be not ideal. But as we roll up to any house, no matter what the pest is that we're trying to control, we've got to do a proper inspection. So I did a full inspection last night. I'm kind of aware of what's going on. You can see flags are still in the yard. As far as mole activity, there is some new stuff here since last night. But we're not here for moles right now. We're here for ants. So as far as ants go in our area, we have several kinds. The most common that we deal with in the Kansas City market, they're called odorous house ants. Some people call them sugar ants. And typically what they're gonna do is they're gonna crawl up the side of the wall and go up underneath the lip of the siding right here. So ants are different. You need to treat them with a time release product. Can you buy something that's time release? It's hard. It's very hard to buy good ant products. But here's what we've got. So this is the trail I found yesterday. You see these guys walking up in underneath the lip of the siding. So we got more coming. They're just all through here. So we got a pretty good trail. And they go right up in that crack right there, in and out. So they use a pheromone trail. They're gonna follow the same trail every time. And they're gonna go in, they're gonna get food or moisture, and they're gonna go back to the colony. I'm assuming that the colony, we go down in this flower bed or maybe over to this tree. Sometimes you'll have little ant hills. Those are typically pavement ants, but doesn't rule out other kinds. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna draw with ant bait, a bait line right here on the house. And you'll see that they sense it and they're lining up to feed. So we're gonna check in a couple of minutes and see how many are there. Meanwhile, I'm gonna walk around the rest of the house and see if there's any other trails that need to be taken care of. But that's basically your main ant inspection, is you come around and you look at the foundation between the ground and the lip of the siding. This one's really tall, so that's good. But you're gonna look, and that's where they're gonna enter most of the time. All right, so quick inspection around the rest of the house. There's no other ant trails. So a lot of times you'll check along the edge of the driveway or the sidewalk. They like shaded corners of the house or places that aren't exposed to direct elements sometimes. We can see, just looking at this front tree in the front yard, that it's got either carpenter ant or termite damage. Those little trails through the wood. Normally if it's carpenter ants, you'll see them crawling all over the tree, and they're bigger, and they don't trail as much. They don't stay in the same line. They'll go wherever they want foraging. So this one may not be ants, I'm not entirely sure. But let's come back here and take a look at what's going on with our bait. Okay, so there's another tree over here right by the ant trail, and I did find on the tree, it's going to be hard to see, but right here in between the bark, we've got ants going in and out. Quite a few of them on this tree. So I'm going to guess that this is where they're living, on this tree or in this tree, and they're trailing down across the ground and then up the house. One other thing we have to be careful of or look for if you don't find a trail is look at the branches. And if the branches of a tree come up and touch any part of the house, then they will trail up and into the house that way. Or these bushes, or even plants. They can climb up these plants and roll across the leaves and get into the house. So luckily, there's nothing really touching the house as far as tree branches or bushes, which is good. The taller this area is, the better, and the further back that your vegetation is, the better. So this is ideal, and all they've done is they've just trailed across the ground, so it's easier for us to treat. All right, it's been all of maybe 5 minutes since I put bait down, and I want to show you what's happening. So there's probably 100 ants now. I dripped some down here, and they're lining up there. We've got ants lining up wherever there's some of that clear bait as they come out of the house, come down, and they're like, oh, what do we do here? It's a feeding frenzy. So they find a place to line up next to their buddies, and they start eating. So let me explain what happens from here. Are these ants gonna die instantly? No, I hope not. The way it works is these products are time release, and that's key. Okay, it's a little warm outside, so I got in the truck while I'm waiting. I'm gonna give that a little bit of time, maybe another 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna go out there and show you what it looks like on the bait. So our normal service for these odorous house ants or sugar ants, whatever you want to call them, is we will find the trail, we'll bait across it, and then we also down on the ground will spray ant spray. It's a non-repellent, usually at least 4 or 5 feet from where the trail is on each side. Obviously they don't like to be sprayed. It's like it's raining and they don't like it, but once it dries, it is a non-repellent. They don't know it's there, they're walking through it, they get it on their bodies, and as you can see in the video, when they're feasting or whatever, when they're together, they're very social. So they rub against each other, they transfer. We're hoping that that spray that's on their bodies is going to transfer to somebody else. Now the key to both products, either the bait or the spray, is that they are time release. So they're not going to kill them right now instantly. It's not like it's going to burn them up. What it'll do is in a few days it'll start working on them and it'll start killing them, because they've got a long journey from that part of the house down across up to the tree and into the rest of the colony. When they feast on that bait, they will get as much as they can, they'll take it back to the colony, they will regurgitate it and feed it to everybody else. Then everybody's got a little portion of it and it starts killing them off in a couple of days. So time release is key. And it's not just because we don't want to kill the ants, it's we want to kill the colony of ants. So here's how it works. Those ants that we see out there trailing, foraging for food or for moisture or whatever they're going for, and are feeding on the bait, those are drone ants. So they are worker ants. If they get sprayed with like a home remedy, Simple Green, Windex, anything like that, it may kill them and they'll die right there and you'll see dead bodies. What happens is somewhere down the line, somebody's going to tell the colony that there's danger there, and they're going to move where they're trailing to somewhere else. They'll probably still get in your house, they'll find a different spot, they will stay away from that danger area, and the queen will be like, oh, I lost half my army, I'm going to make more. So she'll make more drones or more workers, and she'll send them out. So you've got to kill the colony or the queen, otherwise they're just going to fix all the ones that you kill. So contact kill is not good. Time release kill is what works on ants. So contact kill on a spider or a roach is important because they're not the same type of pest. But ants, because of the way they work, and termites, because of the way they work, you want to kill off the colony, not just the workers. So that's why we're doing what we do. We don't want them to die right now. We want them to get back to the colony and spread that poison or the product to everybody else. The way the products work is they have an active ingredient. Every product has its own active ingredient depending on the manufacturer. And we like some better than others just because we're used to them, or we know that they work in our area. But a lot of the manufacturers have something similar. So you can get an ant gel from one manufacturer or another, and it probably is going to work the same as long as it has a good percentage and the right amount of active ingredient. So this one we've been using for quite a while, several years, and we know it works. We don't just do baits typically. I'm doing it here as kind of an educational thing, but we typically do two-fold bait and spray, so that way we're covered for sure. We've got a good success rate on ants just because we do so much. It's more than just one thing. We've got a good success rate on spiders because not only do we spray, but we sweep the eaves, we remove the webs, we kill the nests and stuff. So pest control is more than just a spray or a poison or a bait. You have to do more than one thing in order to change what's happening to the pests. So baiting and spraying is good for the ants in our area because it's an integrated method. It's more than just one, and that way there's a good chance that either they'll get the spray on them or they'll ingest some of the bait, which is going to poison everybody else in the colony. So another few minutes, we'll go check on it.
5 minutes later.
Okay, it's been 10 minutes more. I want to look at these ants, show you what's going on. So the problem that we have as technicians or people that treat is we never know the size of the colony back at that tree. It may be a couple thousand, it may be a whole bunch, or it may be just a few. We don't know. We try to judge by how many are in the trail that we see, but different times of the day and different barometric pressures are going to affect how many we see. So sometimes we treat and there's not enough bait and we have to come back. That's the reason why we have to come back sometimes. But we put what we think. We don't want to over bait because it's just a waste, and we don't want anything else to get into it. So like in this house, I know they don't have a dog or a pet. They have one baby that doesn't walk, but I want to put it close enough up underneath the lip of the siding that it doesn't get washed off by elements, but also so that something small can't get up there and get it. Other than the ants, I want them to get it. So here we are, ant trail, after 10 minutes. See if I can get close enough. That is a lot of ants lined up, and they are just flowing in and out. So I probably, see how some of them are just going by? I probably need to get some more bait so that we can stop them from going in. Because if they line up and eat the bait, they won't go in, they'll just go back to the colony. But even these drips are just covered. So again, first glance, I don't know if that's enough bait. And we never know until we see, you know, the enormity of the colony. So I'm gonna put a little bit more there because I think that we need some more. And then in 2 days, maybe, somewhere around there, they're not going to be trailing anymore. They're going to be gone. I know I'm going to get asked, what is the brand of bait you're using? We don't typically show that. One, because they don't sponsor us, and if they want to, then we'll show their brand. Two, it's not always something that just anybody can get. So the ones that you can buy at the store are not what we can get. These are, you have to have a license in order to get them. So I just put a little bit more. You see that fresh bait over there, and now they're starting to line up. So in another 10 minutes, there's probably going to be 1,000 ants on that. But hey, guess what? That's 1,000 ants that are not in the kitchen where they have been. It's a little show you how we take care of ants and why it's important to do a proper inspection, and also the products that you use are very important. Okay, so here's the thing. If you don't know what you're doing and you see ants like that at your house, your first instinct is to go to the store or to Home Depot or wherever and buy bug kill spray. I used to do it too. The problem with that spray is it's what we call a contact kill, and it's designed that way on purpose. So when you spray it, within a few minutes or an hour, it's going to kill them, and you'll see dead bodies like I talked about. Contact kill is not the correct method to kill ants. So you'll think that you're doing it right, and you're not, because the colony will not die. And most of the time you're like, oh yeah, it worked because they died and I could see the dead ones and they never came back. Well, they didn't come back there because that's a danger spot. They went somewhere else. Instead of the kitchen, they went to the bathroom or wherever. Sometimes they go somewhere where you don't see them, but you have thousands of ants coming into your house and you think that you took care of them. So don't buy the wrong stuff. If you have questions, please put them below. We love your comments. We need more comments. We need more ideas. We need more questions. So we want to tell you what happens and the science behind it, so you have a good understanding of and an expectation of what's going to happen. So on this, we'll check it. We're going to look at this when we go back in 2 days. When we do the follow-up on the moles, we'll look at the ants too. So we'll let you know. But that's it. I'm hungry. I'm going to go to lunch. Thank you guys. We will see you a little bit later.
3 days later.
All right, it's a little bit later. Had to come back because I was in a different truck. Mine's at Nissan still. Story to come on that soon. When I looked for the ants earlier while we were here doing moles, I found this, so let me show you. So this is the line of bait from here to here, and you'll see there's nothing, and those spots that were down below are gone. There is a little bit left, just barely, and there's no ants trailing. So there are no ants in the house. I did also inspect outside on this tree that was questionable, and they are still there. So I want to make it very clear that even sometimes using the right product, you may not be able to eliminate the whole colony because they may sense that there's a problem. Some of these ants may have been dying and then they figured out, hey, danger's over there. Let's find a different place. So what I want to do is put out a little bit more bait around and near this tree to finish killing off this colony, because it is a large colony. Normally on a tree we spray it because the bark is rough. It's hard to find just one trail. So baiting a tree is harder, way harder. But I'm gonna put some bait on it. I want to kind of test this. So we've got this trail here where they were walking. This guy's confused. They're gonna come back down, find that, and look for some other areas here where they are. Just kind of give them some bait to munch on. If we get enough here, it'll kill them off. It'll kill all the whole colony. All right, so I baited the tree, and just as a follow-up, that just to show you what will happen if you treat ants properly with a good bait, time release. It does work. This could be a whole separate colony, and there could just be another one here in the ground, so that would eliminate that, and that would be why these are still alive. But this one's soon to be eradicated too. They're already lining up there on that bait. So I'm gonna probably put a little bit on this front tree if I see anything on it. And that's ants. All right, so there's gonna be pest control people out there that are gonna razz me for shorts and short sleeve t-shirt, no gloves. According to the label of the baits I'm using, it doesn't require the PPE that we would require for a spray. So didn't use any sprays. That was part of the reason. The other part is I wanted to see how effective it is. We do both typically, but I wanted to see how effective it is if we just did one, if baits are enough. That was kind of my question, one of the things I wanted to test, and looks like that's enough. The only ideal situation would have been on this one. I think if we sprayed, we would have ended up spraying the base of that tree along with the base of the house, so it probably could have taken care of the ants on the tree already. But I'm going back, so I took care of it. It does prove that what we do is probably more effective, and I like that. So that's the good news. We're gonna take care of them though. They're very happy that we took care of the ants that were trailing into the house. Nobody wants ants, I tell you what. They're just dirty little creatures, but they're fun to treat. So, last thing, if you guys have any thoughts or comments, please put them below. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate the feedback. We appreciate ideas. Anything you guys want to throw in, we love it. So the more comments, the merrier. We do read them. We do try to follow, what you guys are asking or saying. So put your thoughts below. Thank you. We will move on to the next one. The next video is going to be about the moles at that house, about juicy fruit and what happened. So we've got results. That'll be in the next one. Stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you on the next one.